We're continuing on Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim, Siman Kuf Nun Dalet, and we are up to Sif Chet and Daf Mem Bet Amud Bet of regular prints of Mishna Berura. The Shulchan Aruch writes, and again discussing the items that are used for Kedusha in Bet Knesset, whether a person could exchange them, make something else out of them, donate them, use them for regular purposes or other purposes of Kedusha. So Shulchan Aruch writes, Ha'aron v'chol ma she'osim leSefer Torah mo'il bo t'nai l'shtamesh bo sha'ar tashmish afilu dechol. Here is a very important concept that when you have Tashmishei Kedusha, even though by Bet Knesset we mentioned it's a machloket, whether conditioning it in the beginning works or not, Eretz Yisrael, outside Eretz Yisrael, if the Bet Knesset is still standing or is it Bechurbanan. We spoke about a lot of complexities of making a Tanai, making a condition when it comes to shuls and Batei Midrash. But here, the Shulchan Aruch says that when it comes to Tashmishei Kedusha, items that are used for Kedusha, that law differs and it's more lenient. A person could make a Tanai to begin with, that when he wants to use them later on for a different purpose, that condition allows him to do so. This is from a Yerushalmi, and the outcome of it would be that you could even use the item for davar chol. For instance, a common example of this is bookshelves. Every Jewish home has bookshelves. Every Jewish home should have bookshelves, right? Even if you are not planning to learn a lot as at this moment in your life, but I think every Jewish home should have 2 or 3 full bookshelves of Sfarim with the basics, of course having Tanakh, and instead of Mishnayot, and Shas, and Shulchan Aruch, and Tur, the basics that a person's Jewish, that's how a Jewish home looks like. And you strive for finishing those things. You strive for, and you talk to your kids about it. There's a Rabbi Lezer Yudel Finkel, the Rosh Yeshiva, the Mir Rosh Yeshiva, in his old age, they had one of the Bachurim taking care of him, making sure everything is okay. He was living alone. And he noticed that every morning, very early, when the Rosh Yeshiva woke up, he thought the Bachur is still sleeping, but he was awake. He was just monitoring to see what's happening. He would go to his Sfarim trunks, his bookshelves, and he would touch the Sfarim, and every shelf he would kiss the Sefer. It was a ritual every morning. He would go through his whole Sefer. He loved the Sfarim, he loved the learning, and that by itself does something. I mean, that I bet that Bachur, this memory was etched in his mind for the rest of his life of what it means to love learning, to love the Sfarim. But be that as it may, you buy Sfarim, you buy a bookshelf, say, I have a set of Sfarim, here's the bookshelf I buy for them. And you put the Sfarim inside. Then 10 years down the line, the bookshelf is not in good quality, or you have more Sfarim now, and you want matching bookshelves, or removing, whatever it is. Now you want to downgrade the bookshelf to your kids' room and have books in it, regular books or toys. Mutar or asur, right? So Tashmishei Kedusha could be, because if the actual Sefer, especially if the Sefer is a larger Sefer in width, and the pages of the Sefer on their edges sit really resting on the shelves of the bookshelf, then that's Tashmishei Kedusha. Tashmishei Kedusha, normally speaking, you can't just change it to Chol. But if in the beginning, when you order those shelves, you say, look, for now, I want to use it for Sfarim, but I'm making a condition, I could change it whenever I want, to whatever I want. That Tanai works. And then you can do whatever you want with those shelves, because making a Tanai, when it comes to Tashmishei Kedusha, helps. Same would be with getting an Aron. Many of the Aron Kodeshes in the shuls used to be like an entertainment set, whatever it was, and became an Aron Kodesh now. So you want to use it, and then at some point you want to maybe give it away, and when you make your own custom-made Aron Kodesh, so you could make a Tanai from the very beginning. So I'm taking this entertainment set or the closet, whatever it is, and I'm making an Aron Kodesh. until Be'ezrat Hashem we could afford to build a proper Aron Kodesh, and then I don't want this to contain the Kedusha of being a Tashmish Kedusha, because I want to be able to give it away or use it for other items that are less of Kedusha. So says the Mishnah Berura over here, Mo'il bo tenai, haynu kshitnu betchilat asiyato she'mutar l'shtamesh bo. That's only when you make it, you make the tenai, or when you buy it, you make the tenai. So in that case, it's mutar to use it for whatever you want. Ve'en chiluk ben lizman she'sefer Torah munachat bo o achar kach. So if you make the tenai, you say, I don't want this to become a tashmish kedusha. I want this to be just a closet. Then, even when you have the Sefer Torah inside of it, you can still have other things. For instance, the question is, how can the Ashkenazim have, even Sephardim, it's more of a question for the Aron Kodesh of Ashkenazim, because the Sefer Torah is directly sitting there, a Sefer of Haftarot, right? If this is Tashmish Kedusha, you can't, and it's miyuchad for this, you can't bring it lower and put like Chumashim and Sidurim inside the. Or, for instance, for the Sephardi ones, or equal Ashkenazi Sephardi, if you have the Yad, the silver pointer of the Sefer Torah, which doesn't have any Kedusha, and you want to put it inside for safeguarding, right? Or you want to put Megillat Esther on a Purim like this year, that it falls to be on Motzai Shabbat, so you want to bring from Erev Shabbat, you want to bring your Megillah, but it's $2,000 Megillah, you don't want to, leave it in the shul, so you ask the Gabbai to put it in Aron Kodesh and lock it. Can you do that? Right? You can bring lower the Kedusha, but in that case, again, we mentioned that our Aron Kodesh is our Tashmish to Tashmish, and it's not a question really, but even if we Tashmish to Kedusha, if in the beginning you made it tonight, I want the Sefer Haftarah to be here, sometimes I want to put, the Yad, which is no Kedusha, sometimes I want to put Megillat instead. All that is going to be fine because you made the Tanai, the condition from the beginning, and that Tanai is binding and stands. So says the Mishnah Berura, Afiru dechol, that you could use it even for usages of complete mundane usages, right? You want to put money inside there for safeguarding, you could do that. Umikol makom letashmish meguneh lo mehani tena, says the Mishnah Berura. Exception to the rule, you cannot use it for something that's a disgrace. You cannot use it for something that's bizayon. It's ugly. Right? That you cannot do. Ve'en hiluk, sorry, this is Magen Avraham, and the Kaf HaChaim writes that even though the Mikar Adin, the letter of the law, it's mutar to even use it, Aron, you can use it complete mundane usage, but at the same time, l'chatchila, it's better not to put anything in Aron Kodesh that are devarim shel chol, that are completely not related items when the Sefer Torah is in there. Putting together Sefer Torah with something that is tashmish shel chol, that's of course is not a nice thing to do, because that's not a kavod for Sefer Torah. It's not a matter of technical halacha of lowering the kedusha of the Aron, because we said it's mutar, but still to put the Sefer Torah with a bag of money or whatnot, that's not the kavod. Is to bring it together with the davar shel chol. That's the Kaf HaChaim sensitivity that's there. Now, we also covered saying that this maran is only by tashmishei kedusha, right? Kaf HaChaim actually speaks this out, that by gufa kedusha, you can't write the Sefer Torah and say, well, I make it tenai, and that this should be kadosh when I want it, and when I don't want it. You can't do that, or tefillin, or mezuzah. It's only by tashmishei kedusha, something that serves a davar should be kedusha, you can make a tenai, that if I don't want it to be serving as a tashmish kedusha any longer, then I should be able to do so. Okay, so that's the first half of this. Now, writes the Rima. This was the Mechaber Maran. the Rama adds, ונהגו להענות בכמה הנאות מדברי קדושה, כגון מטפחות של ספרים, ושולחן שבבית הכנסת, ומעילים של ספר תורה. The minhag has evolved that we use the items of Tashmish Kedusha for several different usages, right? We use the tables in the Beit Knesset, the covers of the Sefer Torah, mitbachot of the Sfarim, right? All those things we use. Ve'katvu, and that's shver, because based on what we just said, it should not be mutar. So says the Rema, ve'katvu atam, the poskim write, that the reason for this is being, mishum de kevan shnagu ken, because the minhag has become that people use these items for other usages as well, and it's kimat impossible, it's very difficult to be careful in the way the society operates. Therefore, lev betin matnanehem, even though that you didn't specifically say, this item I'm making a tenai, that item I make, lev betin matnanehem. Once you buy it or get it donated to the shul, it's as if you made a clear time, because everybody knows that the general society uses these things like that. And it's something that everybody knows, and it's a common practice. It's considered an unspoken tanai that has been given already without you even saying it. And therefore, and the reason for it is because the Bedin would not want people to come to do isurim by using dvarim shel kedusha for sorech chol, for the need of mundane, and therefore afal gav delo hitznu, even though that they didn't actually physically make a tanai, keilu hitnu dami. It's halachically equivalent of the as if they did make the tanai, and therefore it would be fine. Says the Mishnah Berura, Ef Shani Zaher, he brings the Trumat Hadesh in Siman Ayin Gimal. The Muchach Sham Deseu Davka Bebet Knesset. That's only talking about Bet Knesset because you have, a lot of people using items that's in the Bet Knesset. Hundreds of people, thousands of people come and go, and there's no control over it in that way. But Sefer Torah is different because Sefer Torah is private. It's sitting in the Aron. When it's used, is properly done with the Gabaim and so on. Therefore, it's a Sefer Torah certainly of a Yachid that you have in your private Bet Midrash, that even the items of the Mitpachad and the cover of the Sefer Torah is more of a controlled environment, and therefore it would be not included in this leniency. Matnane Mikarai says that's only things that the general custom is to be mekel, to be lenient. But but to use them for things that are not the custom, not the norm of the society, that is asur. We can't just extend this usages to whatever we feel like, if it's not the minhag of the tzibur. Because maybe that is not included in the Tanai. Now, there are, for instance, Faradim that they believe in a skula for a woman that has had miscarriages, that if you make a new cover for Sefer Torah, mitpachat chadasha, a new cover for Sefer Torah, that is considered a skula for her to have children without having a miscarriage. And the old cover of the Sefer Torah, she would wrap around her stomach, right, as a skula. That's something that some people believed in. The Kaf HaChaim writes that this has been at some times in the history and in some communities as something that people did. It was known that the old Sefer Torah cover would be replaced with a new one, and the old one would be used for this quote-unquote skula. And therefore, in communities as such, says the Kaf HaChaim, is like lev betin matne alehem. It's like considered already a minhag. Nowadays, again, many do not have this minhag. Many of you sitting here would be shocked to hear even such a thing. You've never heard of such a thing. You've never seen such a thing. So in a community that's not known, or certainly not the minhag, it will be considered, of course, something to be stringent. It's not a blanket heter, as the Kaf HaChaim puts it, but rather it should be taken with a grain of salt. Says the Trumat edition in that same place. נדחקתי כדי ליישב קצת מה שאין העולם נזהרין. The translation says, okay, I realize that I created this heter, right? That this whole din comes from Trumat edition. It says, look, I am trying to find a limud zchut for what people do in their lives, but I'm not telling you to do it lechatchila. Umashma, says the Chafetz Chaim, mashma sham dera'oi lekol adam. Don't rely when you are donating something to Bet Knesset, or you're the gabbai of the shul buying something with the money of the tzibur. Do not rely on this halacha that lev bedin matna lehim, that is common practice. Therefore, you don't need to make it. Make it tonight. Make it clear tonight when you buy or you donate something to the Bet Knesset that the Gabaim, the Rav, and the donators, they should be mindful that you should make it tonight, that you are going to be able to use them for Dvarim Shel Chol afterwards, and that concludes Sif Chet. Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll continue Sif Tet in the days to come.